so much of our future depends on this rather strange-looking thing which we can stick out of our mouth. By the tongue, we can go to heaven or hell. The tongue has two main functions: speaking and tasting. Both of them are central to our lives as human beings. The speaking function, if used to glorify the Supreme Lord and his devotees, especially by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The speaking function, if used to glorify the Supreme Lord and his devotees, will lift us even beyond heaven, up to the spiritual world. We can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and glorify the Supreme Lord and his pastimes and his devotees, and go to the spiritual world. But if we use the tongue to talk nonsense, it will entangle us in materialistic life. And if we use the tongue to hurt others, offend others, then we are in serious trouble. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat recommends Kahare na kare ninda Krishna Krishna bole Ajay Chaitanya se jini bek hele. This is the formula. Don't unnecessarily criticize anyone. Don't blaspheme them. Don't insult them. Go on chanting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is otherwise unconquerable, becomes easily conquered. So don't talk nonsense and don't unnecessarily criticize or insult others. Talking nonsense means about everything which is not related to our eternal self-interests as spiritual living beings, talking about subjects not related to Krishna. Of course, just to arrange this video production, devotees have discussed so much about lighting and voltage levels and so many things. It's all in relation to Krishna, so it's all purified. But if we use the tongue to prattle on about materialistic topics or to needlessly insult others or to promote ungodly theories such as there is no God, the tongue will carry us to hell. Lord Krishna gives a formula, the austerity of speech. He gives this in Bhagavad-gita. Anudvega karang vakyang satyang priyahitang chayat svadhyaya bhyasanang chaiva vangmayam tapa uchyate. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. Please listen to Srila Prabhupada's purport. It's very important, as are all his purports. But this is of particular importance to us as aspiring transcendentalists, because it gives us practical instruction about something we do a lot of the time, which is talking. Srila Prabhupada writes, one should not speak in such a way as to agitate the minds of others. Of course, when a teacher speaks, he can speak the truth for the instruction of his students, but such a teacher should not speak to those who are not his students if he will agitate their minds. This is penance as far as talking is concerned. Besides that, one should not talk nonsense. The process of speaking in spiritual circles is to say something upheld by the scriptures. One should at once quote from scriptural authority to back up what he is saying. At the same time, such talk should be very pleasurable to the ear. By such discussions, one may derive the highest benefit and elevate human society. There is a limitless stock of Vedic literature, and one should study this. This is called penance of speech. We also have practical direction for advancing in Krishna consciousness, given by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada in his Upadeshamrita. The first verse of Sri Upadeshamrita, the Nectar of Instruction, teaches us about controlling the urges. We have so many sensual urges, and the first that Rupa Goswami mentions is Vacho Vegam, the urge to speak. And shortly after this, in Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita, we are also warned about prajalpa, needless talk, one of the factors that can destroy our progress in devotional service to Krishna. In his purport to this first verse about Vacho Vegam, controlling the urges of the tongue, Srila Prabhupada writes, first one must control his speaking power. Every one of us has the power of speech. Yeah, almost everyone. Some people can't speak literally. But Srila Prabhupada writes, as soon as we get an opportunity, we begin to speak. If we do not speak about Krishna consciousness, we speak about all kinds of nonsense. A toad in a field speaks by croaking. And similarly, everyone who has a tongue wants to speak, even if all he has to say is nonsense. The croaking of the toad, however, simply invites the snake, please come here and eat me. Nevertheless, although it is inviting death, the toad goes on croaking. The talking of materialistic men and impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers may be compared to the croaking of frogs. They are always speaking nonsense and thus inviting death to catch them. Controlling speech, however, does not mean self-imposed silence. The external process of moan, as Mayavadi philosophers think. Mona means silence. Silence may appear helpful for some time, but ultimately it proves a failure. By contrast, the controlled speech advocated by Srila Rupa Goswami is the positive process of Krishna Katha, engaging the speaking process in glorifying the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The tongue can thus glorify the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. The preacher of Krishna Katha is always beyond the clutches of death. This is the significance of controlling the urge to speak. Let's read those last two sentences again, very important. The preacher of Krishna Katha is always beyond the clutches of death. This is the significance of controlling the urge to speak. Srila Prabhupada has given the example of a toad or a frog who goes on croaking loudly, but it's inviting death in the form of a snake to come and swallow him. So in the same way, when we go on talking, it's not connected to Krishna. So it's just inviting death to come and swallow us, and again we have to take birth, and it goes on and on like this. Ayur harati vai pungsam udyan astan chayanaso tasyarte yat sharno nita uttama shloka vartaya. With every rising and setting of the sun, our life is being taken away. We are moving closer to death, except for those who utilize their speaking propensity in speaking about Krishna. So those who preach Krishna Katha are always beyond the clutches of death. Krishna protects. Krishna lifts them up. One type of uncontrolled speech is the tendency to insult others, which is very prominent in society nowadays. It's ungodly, and if directed toward devotees, is disastrous. Of course, within Vaishnava society, there will always be a need to maintain discrimination and point out what should not be done and point out persons who may be misleading others in the name of Krishna consciousness. So it may be necessary to point out the faults of others, to protect those who may be influenced by those who are doing or saying the wrong thing. Sometimes strong words are required. But there is a whole phenomenon of supposed to be devotees whose main pleasure in life seems to be getting on the internet and making campaigns against others, often in a most aggressive and unreasonable manner. No doubt there are valid and serious concerns. It's undeniable that there are many problems within Vaishnava society that need to be addressed. But often the way they are vented is wholly condemnatory and presuming the guilt of others, unwilling to see any good in those accused, vindictive, wanting to smash them and punish them. Of course, this kind of thing is not unique to the Vaishnava world. There's a whole world of trolling and doxing and all words which have come into being because of this nasty propensity to be nasty on the internet. So the tongue can take us to heaven or hell, and the keyboard also, writing so many things, an extension of the speaking process. And the internet is full of all kinds of people stirring up negative emotions, taking some kind of pleasure, perverse pleasure in that. The tone and fanaticism of some of the complaints speaks a lot about the complainers, especially if they are anonymous. It's as if they delight in finding out wrong things and pointing it out. And it suggests something's seriously psychologically wrong with the ones who are pointing out the faults. Now, this isn't, again, it's not to say that valid concern shouldn't be pointed out. And it shouldn't be a case of victimizing the whistleblowers. But there are some who just on and on and on making propaganda and not helpful at all. For instance, the theory that Srila Prabhupada was killed by poisoning, and this is really horrendous. Years and years ago, it was claimed that Srila Prabhupada was poisoned by arsenic. That was thoroughly disproved. And then 20 years after that, a new claim was boldly pronounced that His Divine Grace, who is always under Krishna's divine protection, was killed by cadmium poisoning, which has also been debunked. But there's a party who keep on gaslighting as if it hadn't been debunked, which again really says a lot about the complainers and doesn't say anything good about them. They're not interested in truth. They say they're defending Srila Prabhupada when they're actually causing him so much pain by these wild accusations. It also says a lot about the upholders of this Ritvik theory, who promote this poison theory. These are psychologically and spiritually sick people. The other major function of the tongue is for eating. You can get a lot of really bad karma just by sitting down and eating. Most people don't eat simply to live. Some people who are very poor or in other ways restricted, for instance by being in prison, some people have very little choice over what they eat, but most people do. And most people choose to eat food that causes unnecessary, horrific suffering to the animals that are slaughtered just for the pleasure of the tongue. The laws of karma are there. Those who indulge in cruelty have to face a very black future. They'll have to suffer it. Even if the cruelty is indirect, you may not personally kill the animal. Most people who eat meat don't personally kill the animal, or they don't even see it killed, or don't even think about it being killed. But the animal is killed so that you can eat it. On the other hand, we can use the tongue to honor pure Krishna prasadam, food that is offered with love to Krishna, which means there won't be any meat, fish, or eggs, nothing negative, and it will be infused with the positive spiritual energy of Krishna's love, and by that eating we will be purified and lifted up to the spiritual platform. It's not just a matter of being a vegetarian. We have to take food that is offered to Krishna and offerable to Krishna. That means prepared by devotees with love for Krishna, properly offered. Don't eat food prepared by non-devotees. Such food is just for the pleasure of the tongue. Jibe lalashe jay iti uti dhai. Shishnodar parayan Krishna nahi pai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu warns that those who go here and there just for the pleasure of the tongue, they become addicted to that pleasure, and then the pleasure of the belly and the genitals, and they don't get Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu warns, Bishoyer anna khaile malin hoiman. Man malin hoile nahe Krishna smaran. By eating the food of materialistic people, the mind becomes polluted. And when the mind is polluted, we don't get Krishna. So don't eat food just for the pleasure of the tongue. That includes chocolate, by the way. All such food doesn't have the energy of Krishna's love, and by eating it, we will not be purified. There is a formula. We know it very well. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given it to us. Sharira vidyajal jarendriya tahe kal. Jibe file bishaya shagare. Tarmadhe jiba ati lobhamai shudurmati take jet ta katin samsare. Krishna baradayamai karibare jiba joy. Shaprasad onadilo bhai Shenamrita pao radha Krishna gunago premirtako Chaitanya nintai. O Lord, this material body is a lump of ignorance, and the senses are a network of paths to death. Somehow we have fallen into this ocean of material sense enjoyment, and of all the senses, the tongue is most voracious and uncontrollable. It is very difficult to conquer the tongue in this world, admitted. But you, dear Krishna, are very kind to us and have given us such nice prasadam just to control the tongue. Now we take this prasadam to our full satisfaction and glorify their lordship, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, and in love call for the help of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityo ma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.